All right, let's get right into it. Carl Jung's most dangerous discovery, it wasn't some dark archetype or a new mental illness. No, it was about a certain kind of person. A person with this uncanny, almost unsettling ability to see what everyone else is missing, and why that very gift can either completely destroy them or turn them into something incredible. So let me start by asking you something, and I want you to really think about it. Do you ever walk into a room and just know things? You can feel the hidden emotions. You can pick up on the unspoken tensions. You can see the truth that's hiding just behind everyone's carefully constructed masks. Now, for some, having this kind of perception feels like a superpower, right? It's like you can see through all the noise, understand people on a level they don't even understand themselves, and spot patterns way before they play out. But, and this is a big but, there is a huge flip side. That exact same ability can be an unbelievably heavy weight to carry. It can lead to this profound sense of being alone, of being totally exhausted, and feeling like you're living in a completely different reality from everyone else. And this is the absolute crux of it, something Jung himself pointed out. The real problem isn't what you're seeing. The danger is the massive, isolating gap that opens up between you and the rest of the world because of what you see. So, what was this discovery? What did Jung find that was so potent, so, well, dangerous? Let's unpack the idea that sits at the very heart of this whole experience. You see, in his work with patients, Jung kept encountering people with what he called differentiated perception. And listen, these weren't just highly sensitive people. These were individuals who could actively perceive the unconscious world. They could see the depression hiding behind a fake smile. They could feel the desperation under a show of confidence. They could sense the unspoken lies a whole group agrees to believe. And to put this into perspective, think about how rare this really is. Today, we talk about highly sensitive people, and that's maybe 20% of the population. But Jung was talking about something even more specific, a type he called the introverted intuitive. He figured that was maybe 1% of people. 1. So we're talking about a perceptual ability that isn't just heightened, it's wired completely differently. And it's that rarity that leads us straight into the dangers. Because when your perception is that finely tuned, it comes with a psychological price tag that most people just can't begin to comprehend. Jung came up with this powerful metaphor, and it is just perfect. He said, you become a mirror that society cannot stand to look into. Your very presence reflects back all the uncomfortable truths that people and groups have mutually agreed to just ignore. And you know what happens when you hold up a mirror to someone who doesn't want to see? They don't thank you for it. Instead, you become a target for what Jung called shadow projection. This is huge. People don't see their own flaws in the mirror you're holding up. They unconsciously decide that you are the flaw. You get blamed for the tension you're only pointing out. You're told you're too sensitive or too negative for seeing a problem everyone else is pretending isn't there. It's their defense mechanism, but man, it feels like a full-on personal attack. So Jung basically pinpointed 3 massive dangers here. First, collective disruption. By seeing through the little white lies and shared illusions, you become a threat to the unspoken rules that keep families, companies, and friendships running. Second, this leads to a crushing psychological isolation, that feeling of being an island of awareness in a vast ocean of unconsciousness. And third, and this one is so insidious, is identity dissolution. It's where you absorb so much from other people that you literally lose track of where they end and you begin. Now here's the thing, Jung also noticed that this kind of perception wasn't a one-size-fits-all deal. It showed up in different ways. He actually identified 4 main patterns, and you might just recognize yourself in one of these. Okay, let's walk through these, because the distinctions are fascinating. First up, you've got the feeling intuitive. This person literally feels other people's emotions in their own body. It's like living in a constant state of emotional contagion. Then there's the thinking intuitive. Their gift is seeing patterns. They can predict how things are going to turn out with shocking accuracy, but they can't explain how they know. Third is the sensation intuitive. This person can actually sense physical states in others, almost like an early warning system for sickness. And finally, the rarest of them all, the pure intuitive. This person sees everything, the emotional, the psychological, the physical, but it's just a flood of information. They're in a state of constant overwhelm. So, faced with all these dangers, what in the world is the solution? Well, this is where Jung's work goes from being just a diagnosis to a real, practical guide. He wasn't the kind of guy to just point out a problem and walk away. He actually laid out a path forward. And this is probably the most important takeaway of all. The answer is never to try and see less. You can't unsee what you've seen. The goal is to build up the psychological muscle and the internal structure to consciously handle and integrate all these powerful insights, to build a self that's strong enough to hold them. He called this journey the individuation process, and it basically has three big phases. Phase 1, recognition and differentiation. This is the vital first step of learning to tell the difference between what's yours and what you're picking up from other people. Step 2, shadow integration. This is about acknowledging that all the darkness you see out there in the world, it exists inside of you too. This is what allows for compassion instead of judgment. And finally, step 3, conscious participation. This is where you learn how to re-engage with the world, how to offer your insights without getting swallowed up by it all. And you can see the two possible roads this leads down perfectly in these two examples. Jung saw the philosopher Nietzsche as this tragic case of unintegrated perception. He saw through all of society's illusions, but he used his insight like a weapon, a hammer, and it ultimately destroyed him. On the total opposite end, you have the mystic Meister Eckhart. He had insights that were just as profound, but he channeled them into compassionate service, turning his perception into a gift of wisdom for others. I mean, the stakes could not be higher. It's a choice between collapse and real wisdom. And this brings us to the final and, honestly, the most empowering part of Jung's discovery. It's about completely reframing this entire experience. It's not a burden, it's a purpose. If anything I've said so far sounds familiar, I need you to hear this loud and clear. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. Your brain is not malfunctioning. Jung actually came to believe that this ability is an evolutionary feature. It's like consciousness itself is trying to push past its current limits through people like you. You're not behind the curve, you are the curve. This gives you a powerful new identity. You're not a misfit, you're a pioneer, a consciousness pioneer. You're like an advanced scout sent out into psychological territory that the rest of humanity hasn't reached yet. Your personal struggle is actually part of a collective evolution. But look, the path of a pioneer is never easy. It's full of traps. Jung warned about what he called inflation. That's the trap of starting to believe you're some kind of prophet who has to save everyone. He also warned against using your perception as an excuse to just check out from the world, or getting stuck defining yourself only by how you help other people. And it's so important to remember that even when you're doing the work, stress can make you slide back into old, overwhelming patterns. This is an ongoing process. And this quote from Jung just wraps it all up so beautifully. The whole point of this journey, of this integration, it's not just so you can feel better. It's about becoming so fully and authentically yourself that your very existence becomes a gift to the world, a bridge between what we all know and what we're all just starting to become aware of. So let's end right here. The danger was never, ever about seeing too much. The danger was always in not having a way to understand and integrate what you see. Jung gave us the map. So the question he leaves for each of us is a deeply personal one. Are you ready to stop being a victim of your gift and start becoming the master of it? Are you ready to begin?